and they brought up that they told their partner about a past sexual encounter. But the encounter was so long ago. Like, it was like 10, 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, why would you?
That's a long time.
I'm like, why would
10,
you bring that
15
up?
years.
You know? And also, they just brought it up. Like, it wasn't asked to them about the person. They just decided to bring it up out of respect.
So they both knew the person. It's like somebody they
No. My friend knew the person, but the other person didn't. But they decided to just bring it up.
I'm confused.
So, okay. So, my friend, he was with his girl, and his girl seen an old fling he had, an old sexual partner.
But where I think the most important thing in this explanation probably is how the girl saw the old fling, because it just, in that case, the explanation.
How the guy
or what?
How the guy seen the old fling?
Okay, so your friend,
he's with this girl,
right?
And he sees an old fling, and he tells his girl about that they did it. Mm-hmm. That they had sex before.
So the new girl,
he sees it he sees her like in person.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes. So, okay, let me just get the story. Mm-hmm. So he was like, yes, I decided I told him, and which made me, I was like, why? So I wanted to bring that out here to the couch. You know what I'm saying? And discussed it. So, and again, like you said, we can peel it back. So let's start off one.
Did you ask him why?
I did, but I don't want to get into.
I want to know his answer.
Okay, I don't want to get into. I don't want to. You know what I'm saying?
So much to say.
Okay.
Go continue.
Listen. So when I heard it, this is me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. First thing when it comes to that, I do believe that there must be communication and
most definitely
and knowledge of one's life. When it comes to past sexual partners, I've always felt that unless just like you ask me, I would tell you. But I always look at somebody's going to exclude some things, because it's some sexual experiences you like. It wasn't like, oh, I need to tell somebody that I get serious about. You know, I always say that unless it's a relationship, or like it was a long relationship, there was love involved, there was like some strong feelings. Besides that, because you're gonna have sex with people that at that moment, that's what they fed for you. That's what they fed your sexual urges at those moments. You get what I'm saying? So I did ask, and I was like, why would you openly? Okay, question. How do you feel about openly telling your partner, like if you was in that situation, telling your partner that you had a sexual ESP, we're gonna say ESP, sexual encounter with that person, just off bat?
Well, was his girlfriend mad?
No.
So what's the issue?
No,
there's no issue.
But that's the thing is that, and that's why I'm just so very.
I think it just
confused.
depends on the relationship.
Yeah.
So
what's y'all view? How do y'all feel about that in general? Not that particular situation, but in general about.
I'm sorry. I gotta speak on what I feel about that situation, because it's just, that one is odd in particular to me. And no offense to your friend, but it's just for me. It's like, if there was no reason, like, you are then telling on yourself at that point. You know what I mean? Okay. Because if I run into somebody, you know what I mean? Happenstance. You feel me? I run into somebody in the middle of the street. I don't go out on a date with them. I just see them. Like, even if at that moment we say, hey, what you doing right now? You want to grab a coffee? Sure, yeah. I sit down and have a coffee with them. If it's to the point where I feel like it jeopardizes my relationship in some way, that's the only reason that I'm going to sit my significant other down and be like, all right, so this person that I ran into randomly today that I had no control over, we had sex 10 years ago. Like, what? Like, first of all,
and the way you're explaining it is so different, though, because these people were in the same area. See?
All three of them saw the girl. Both
of them saw her at the same time.
They were all at the same area.
And then he just turned and was like, I had sex with her 10 years ago.
I don't know verbatim.
Right. Okay. So
And
okay,
he might still just be attracted to her or something. It might have been a guilt thing, or
Right.
it was a thing where it's like not a big deal. Like, yeah, I like fucked her 10 years ago. Like,
and
ha
see,
ha ha.
and that is still
How would y'all do it? How would y'all be in that situation?
What would you do if you were the guy, Gary?
unless
Wait,
it was
that's
like,
what you was explaining, right?
Yeah, I
you-
think unless it was like you had said, unless it was somebody that was a big part of my life, where it was like
We
I
about to get
loved this
engaged,
person.
right.
I talked about the future with this person, or even if it wasn't to the point where I was in a serious relationship, and even if it was a consistent like fuck buddy, you know what I mean? Then I would be like, all right, I need to tell you something because this is somebody that I had an extended sexual past with. In that case, unless like, you know what I mean? Like,
No, I feel
I
you,
just
I feel
feel
you.
I feel like even then it's really borderline. Like I wouldn't even need to say anything unless I had some reason to be like, let me put her on notice real quick. Because in that, like I said, in right then you're telling on yourself or you telling on old girl. Because then you are now preemptively setting up collateral damage control where you're like, all right, just in case some shit pop off, I gotta
Right,
tell you
right.
something.
I'm
And see,
like the
then that's
same
why I
way.
say you're telling on yourself, regardless, whether or not, you know what I'm saying, the situation is different. So in that case, that's the only reason I would end up saying something is if I know this person is gonna make my current partner's life a living hell because they now know my involvement with them, or unless I feel like my current partner is now in danger as far as my attraction to them because this person is now back into the picture. Other than that, it's hey, yeah, that's my old friend.
And
You know what I
I
mean?
100.
So
that's that.
Would you? 'Cause
I
some
100%
people,
agree with
some
you.
people would consider that, but you're keeping that from her intentionally.
Keeping
But
what from her?
that y'all
because
fucked.
does that mean then she's
But-
owed
and it-
to all the information in my life?
Not
before
necessarily.
she
I'm just-
came
I'm
into
just
my
playing-
life?
Thank you.
Not necessarily. I'm just, and
Yeah.
that's where it's kind of
That's
like
where we
it's,
get
it's
into-
like
so
that means
because-
like that means I have to tell you about every single
Exactly,
So
because
it's
then
like,
now I have to go ahead and roll out your body count. If I have to then
Mm-hmm.
tell you about every person that I run into that I had sex with, and that's why I say the stipulation is those two things. If they were significant enough in my life to be like they changed who I was in some way as a person, I grew to the person that I am today that you see before me now because negatively or positively this person, whether or not I learned from them or whether or not we departed, amicably and I just became a better person. Either I'll tell you then, or like I said before, the sexual case, unless that person is then gonna start some shit, or I'm gonna start some shit because this person is now in my life. Those are the only reasons. Because why would I need to tell
What would
you?
you do?
Yeah,
Let's see. You with your man?
if one, I would only like need to know if it was like something like Gary said. If it was like a one-off type thing, or you just if it like if you don't care, I don't care.
No,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
no, look, okay,
And
put
so,
you in
like,
the situation.
but if it's something, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he don't care enough about this person to tell me, then I don't care. Now, if I'm like, you probably like fucked her, didn't you, or something, and he lies,
But what would make
then
you?
that's an issue.
Okay.
Because you be funny. Like, if you out with your bitch and she see, if you out with your
Well, I
girl.
mean, the line
And you
line
and
is
she
different.
and she and y'all run into a dude that she used to like be with or fuck or whatever, and then y'all like, hey, what's up, and then y'all walk away, and you just jokingly or seriously just be like, did y'all used to fuck or something, and she lies and says no, then that's an issue.
But that's not unsolicited information though. So that's a completely different situation than what we talking
Right,
about.
that's
Yeah.
my exception is what I'm saying.
Okay, so
like
put- Okay,
because
say
it's
this.
kind of the same situation because you're meeting someone from the past.
Okay.
Obviously, if the
But
other
then if
person
you- but if
asks,
you
then
ask, that's
it's
what
a
I'm saying.
different. That's a
That's-
different
that's
scenario.
completely
No,
what
that's
I'm
totally different.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing that would make it more serious.
Okay,
but
say for
because
instance-
if it's not brought up, then
Okay, so if you with your guy, and you see a guy you used to have ESP with, sexual encounter with, and would you openly tell? Would you just out? Would you just Well, when I say openly, I'm not like public, but you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him that you had sex with that person,
yes,
just randomly, even if he
Not
doesn't ask.
randomly.
That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't ask you,
but maybe randomly.
huh?
I mean, it just depends. I mean,
Exactly.
It kinda depends.
And like I said,
Well,
that
right, okay.
depending is on what though? It's probably on whether that person is serious enough to you to tell that guy. Because if it was just
because
a fling,
saying, but
probably not gonna say nothing.
and then also like, because I'm also the type to be like, if we out and I see somebody who maybe I had sex with like once or twice, and you know they're an associate now. You know, we all have like people like that in our lives. That's the easy like, yeah, I had sex with him like a couple times in college, type thing, and, then that's it.
But so you just tell him.
Yeah, you just tell him, but it's not because it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? I'm explaining. It's to me, it's the equivalent of like you see an old roommate. It's like, oh yeah, we used to room in college, type thing.
So yours is kind of like on both ends of the spectrum.
Just because the subject is there, you know, and that's how we know each other.
Okay.
So yours is like on the both ends of the spectrum, where it's like if it's in the middle, you don't really tell them, but like if it's like not serious at all, you might say it, but then and then you might say it if it's
if
it
it's
was,
in
like,
the middle,
really
I would
serious.
tell him too.
Okay, but this is my thing.
Because I'm just saying, like,
No, this is,
I'm just
You
saying.
gonna tell him regardless.
Nothing.
That's what I'm asking.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the past is the past, right? And so, like, if we're secure in what we're doing, why does it matter if I tell you a random versus even someone who I loved till the end of time?
I mean, that's not the
like,
question
why
we're
does it?
asking.
That's what I'm saying, and then I'm telling y'all that's my logic. Like, why would it matter?
So it's a coin flip with you.
It doesn't matter if you're on this end of the spectrum or this end of the spectrum. Either way, the past is the past, and so I would tell you because that's the relationship to that person. That's how I know that person.
So it's just up in the air for you whether
It's
or not
how you
across
feeling at
board.
the moment.
It's just how you
Basically.
feeling. That's what you're trying to say.
No, I'm saying regardless, it doesn't matter how I feel. I'm saying I would say something, whether I'm drunk,
gonna
whether
tell
I'm
her regardless.
So
Yeah,
you would, that's what we.
I said that. That's the first thing I said.
Oh, okay.
I said yeah. Y'all asked. I said yeah, and then I went into my explanation.
What?
No.
I
You
did.
just asked, do you think that you basically are saying you would tell him, because you said first, you was like, it really depends on sort of the seriousness, like, and then you kind of switched and went back,
Right.
and you was like, actually, I probably would tell him, even if it was like a regular whatever thing, because then I feel like it's not serious. So then in my head, I was like, okay, so both ends of the spectrum. And then I asked you, I was like, okay, so if you gonna tell him whether he not serious, and then you gonna tell him whether he really serious, then in the middle, if it was like we dated for a while, then
And
that's,
that's why I
the
said
toss
it's
up.
like
And you
a
was like,
coin
no,
flip.
I'm gonna
I'll
tell him
in the
then.
middle too.
And so I was
How do you like
okay,
know
Steve.
the? So clearly, I had to like talk it out.
Right.
But I mean, I just feel like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you didn't like them at all or you loved them. The past is the past. So it shouldn't be a reason why not to. I guess.
Okay, so
I see
I'm
what
glad
you're saying
okay.
there,
No,
right.
and I'm
I
glad.
see what
Okay,
you're saying
so
there.
you're
You know?
so you're
It's
staying.
not like you about to run into every person you had sex with every single day, and then you know what I mean. It's like
So what you're saying is, if that situation was to occur for you, you would tell your partner about the sexual encounter you had with that person.
yes.
Okay, and
Question. Sorry.
okay, wait.
Yeah, continue. But I have a quick question.
And damn, you fucked me up because what she said, I wanted to piggyback off of it because she made a point. But what was your question?
My bad. No, I was trying to. Damn, I think I forgot mine now.
Well, let me get my
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
So,
go.
so with me, I would not do it. This will probably bring out the point I wanted to get off hers and yours.
Sure.
So, with me, in that situation, I'm probably not gonna if I'm with my girl and she speaks to someone I had a sexual encounter with, I'm not gonna openly tell her about what me and that person did because it's unnecessary. Especially like if it's 5 years, 10 years, it's unnecessary. It's like why? Because my thing is, you didn't exist in my life at that point in time. Mm-hmm. Your presence wasn't there. And I will feel the same way with hers. Like granted, I don't mind if she likes to bring it up. Like I don't like whatever in the past because I wasn't there. I didn't exist in your life at that time. So your thought process of me was non-existent. So you get what I'm saying? So
What's ironic is we feel the same way, but you're saying why, and I'm just saying why not. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I get the why
it's
not.
so unnecessary. So my answer is why not?
And my-
you know, because
okay,
and yours
let me
is
say-
like, well, why?
and my why
So
not.
either way, it's still the same thing. You know what
But
I
the
mean?
thing is the reason I wouldn't do it is to go off what Gary said.
Prevent some trouble.
It prevents. In my thinking, if I tell you that, you're gonna probably say the relationship that we have will now be on look to see how we interact with each other.
I have a question.
That's
I have a question.
assuming
I have
a
a question
lot.
to both of you.
But
I have a
that's-
question to both of you. It's mostly to Candace though. Do any of your past sexual relationships have any bearing on your current relationship? For you, and for you.
No.
Okay. So then your question of why not is precisely that. Why do you have to tell him if that sexual
I don't
relationship?
have to,
But that's
but
my point.
me choosing to, it doesn't matter either.
I feel like the why not is way less valid than the why. Because the why not, if you say why not, then you're basically saying that your partner has access to unsolicited information. Now, like I said, asking the question is a completely different.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
is.
saying my partner has access. I'm saying I can control the access. So if I choose to, then yeah, I'm not saying
Right,
that.
but if you're saying the question of why not, then you're basically posing the question of why wouldn't you tell them, thus saying you should or implying that you should. And so therefore,
I'm trying to remember if I hit the record button. I think I did.
I hope you did. Should I go over and check?
Yeah, just go check. I'm sorry, guys. I kind of, I had a brain fart.
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's what I say, because we definitely welcome that one, and not that one.
So so when it comes to that, that's what I'm saying is for instance, when you see that person, right? And again, if that person does not have any influence on your relationship, i.e., it's not someone that your partner knows or your partner was involved with or anything like that when it comes to bad things or family or something that, like, for instance, like a friend that she don't like, then that's when you would say, oh damn, that's her. Well, I slept with her. That's when that unsolicited information then becomes vital, or it becomes something that you should tell your partner. That's when it becomes the why not, because if you don't tell her, then you must be hiding something. Why not tell her? That's when your question, I feel, becomes more valid. But in the case that we're talking about, bless you beforehand, in that case that you're talking about, I feel like offering that up simply because you feel like oh well, if I ran into somebody and I had a sexual past with them, I feel like there isn't a reason that I shouldn't tell my partner. And I feel like there's more reasons that you shouldn't than reasons that you should, because like I said, that whole I'm just gonna tell you, that automatically then also you run into the danger of putting your partner at risk of getting used to that, getting used to I'm now basically giving you all parts of my past, whether or not they have anything to do with you. Because
Possibly,
like
but possibly not.
True, but
I mean, it also
And it depends on the relationship. It depends on the people.
But that's why I say
Right,
the asking
You know,
is
like-
the question is the key. That's why I said it is a completely different thing, because if the questions come, then that is when you are doing your service as a partner. Like when you said, like, if that's the type of relationship you're in. If that's the type of relationship you're in where your partner should know that, then they're probably going to ask you the question. Does that make sense?
I get
You
what
see what
you're
I'm saying? And if you're not in a relationship where that's vital, then you probably won't have the question get asked to you, and then therefore you offering up the unsolicited information is now solely dependent on whether or not you feel like it is bless you, whether or not you feel like it is going to be something that changes the course of your relationship.
If y'all were out with y'all's girl
That's what I'm saying.
and y'all and she saw one of her exes or faux exes, fexes.
Okay.
What's your?
And see,
you want her
okay.
to tell you what's
Now,
up?
see, this is where
Do you
the
want her
exes.
to just keep it?
But see, this
it
is the
don't
thing with
matter?
the exes thing. If our relationship, we've got some years, we've talked, I would know the significant exes of her life, where if I see them, I would already know who they are.
Okay, it's someone that you didn't know.
Now, if I don't know this person, this person is
Just
probably
like the
just
scenario.
okay, right. No, I get it. I
You're
get
the
it.
girl though. In
I
the
get it.
scenario
Okay, so
of your
I
friend.
get it. So it's if this is a significant ex that you, when we had our conversation, when we spoke about our past relationships with significant people, then it's like, oh, why you didn't want to tell me about this guy or something? And that 9 times out of 10, it probably would be the person lives like fucking 900 miles away, the chances, which I can get. So, but yeah, the chances of me meeting an ex that is like a significant part of our life, it would be very slim because we've already probably had this discussion about people in our lives that were very important to us emotionally that we had sex with and a relationship with. So this person 9 times out of 10 will probably be like, oh damn, I can't believe, and it's probably an old flame, which is like, okay, we had an old flame, especially as you get up like after 25 to 30, you're gonna have some old flings. If you travel all the time, you go into college and party.
What is your answer?
He just said it.
I just said it.
You wanted to tell you.
No, he said
if she says this is an ex, I'm gonna be
I'm
like, why
unclear,
you?
sorry.
No, okay, if we out and she's like, oh, this is one of my exes, I'm gonna be like, well, why you? Okay, I mean, I don't pull stunts in public. I wait till in private to discuss things, but I'm gonna be like, why you didn't want to tell me about this person? You know what I'm saying? So
I'm confused. So if it's your ex, you don't gotta.
No, it's for both parties.
But no, that's why he explained it that way.
We
and
have
that's why
already
he's saying,
had this discussion about our exes.
But here, and that's what you missed was the second part to her question was take that part out and basically. Have
if it's just a person you had
where
sex
it's
with?
a scenario like how we had
The
on the flip
one
side,
Oh,
where
okay.
it was somebody that
I'm like, all right, cool.
You know, I had somebody that she had sex with, and it was
I'm
10,
not
15 years
asking
ago.
what your response would be. I'm asking, would you want her
Would
to
you
tell
want
you
her to
about
tell
a
you if it
stranger?
was a-
If it wasn't
Gotcha.
someone.
Okay, so
who was
this is my
someone she
thinking.
loved.
This is my thinking.
He still answered it in a way.
Okay, but no, I get it. This is my thinking,
Hell,
and
make it plain.
and this is where I think this is where you got to get deep into the mental process of it. My mind has no knowledge, so therefore I'm not in the moment of thinking that. So when you ask me this now, I'm gonna say no because I at that moment not thinking about that being brought up or me even asking that question.
Okay, so second question,
Gotcha.
follow-up question.
So it's no.
Say no, you don't care. You don't need to know.
Mm-hmm.
That's your answer. Or no, you want her to tell you.
I don't know. I don't want. Okay, see. Okay. Okay. So, again, knowing me, I do not care. So no.
You can't care. You can't miss what you don't know. You can't care
Right.
about what you
So
don't know.
I don't.
So okay, follow-up question. Say 3 weeks later, she like, remember when we was and we saw blah blah blah. Yeah, I ain't say nothing because it was kind of weird, but like we like fucked. Would you feel the way that she didn't say anything then?
And the only reason I'm gonna feel some type of way, a little bit, because I know how I am, and I know if we're in a relationship with me, you got to know how blunt I am and how I am as a person, and so therefore, she should feel comfortable to tell me in that moment that they had a fling at that moment because that relationship has already been established about us communicating like that. Because now if you bring it up 3 weeks later, it's like you had to think about it for a minute, and then you like, yeah, you remember that? Because now you randomly bring it up, and depending on
What if
whenever
it's not random? What if?
you just said 3 weeks later.
But what if y'all are talking about something and it's not random?
But see, it's random
Because
to me.
this is also my follow-up question. So you said if you were, your friend and it was a chick who, didn't matter, you wouldn't say anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So say 3 weeks later, for some reason it comes up. And you tell her.
But you're adding a whole
This
bunch
is a follow-up question. I'm basically asking him the same thing. I'm
and I
just
get
putting
what
him
you're
on the
saying.
other side because I'm trying to just see.
No. Now it's extra.
On the follow-up question, I'm putting him on the other
yeah,
side.
that's what I was about to say.
I'm not putting him on the other
Right.
side on the original question. On the
Right.
follow-up question.
So again, if you just randomly 3 weeks later bring this guy up, then I'm like, and it's random. I'm like, why are you?
Then
bringing
it's like
this
you're
up?
keeping something from me. But what
Correct.
if she's not? What if it's literally
And then
like how y'all said, like it's not important, but then I don't know for some
And
reason.
that's why I said in the beginning, our relation, how I am. If if you're dealing with me, you're gonna know how I am, and I will know how you are. Well, you will feel comfortable to bring that up at that moment if you're gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay, let me answer this.
I agree.
Because I want to go to another one.
I concur.
That first question is basically the flip side. Like I said, what I said still stands as far as what I would do, and the same thing what I would want my woman to do. If it's not somebody significant, if it didn't change your life in any kind of way, like I said, when it came to changing who you are as a person for good or bad, and if it wasn't somebody that's triggering, like an abuser or anything like that, and it wasn't somebody that's close to me in a way where it's like, oh damn, I didn't know you know him, blah 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 blah. I don't care. 10, 15 years, please, honestly, don't. Please don't.
It's like throwaway information.
I don't need, and that's what I meant by like the unsolicited information, because now you told me, and now every time I see this nigga, that's all I'm thinking about, because that's how you introduced him.
And I know how you are.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
see, I know how you are, and so like everything you would have so many details. No,
Bro,
they do bring you like what?
I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? So like exactly like how you said, as far as if you're with somebody for a certain amount of time.
Yes, this is a person you've been with for a minute. This ain't no new stuff.
You know their exes, you know such and such.
So that wouldn't annoy you if you like saw that person, but the random person would annoy you?
What are you saying? No, this is a random person. That's what I'm saying. If the only way that it's even remotely in my mind that she needs to say something to me, if it's not a random person, if it's a random person,
but you just said like if she's giving you unsolicited information about some random, then you would be like, why? And I feel like
right, and then I would question it, because if it's truly a random person,
so you would question the fact that it's not that it's like not truly
of course,
random,
because you're offering that information up, and I didn't ask. Right. You feel me? Because in my head,
basically
I don't
like
have
somebody you didn't tell me about,
right? Because I don't have
should have.
Right. Here's the thing: I don't have anything to do with your past relationships. Gotcha. Like Mike said, before you got into my life, I don't care unless he has some connection to me. I don't want to know. Why do I want to fill my head with all the dudes that touched you before me? I don't want to. No, sorry, thanks. You know what I mean? So like for me, it's like I know, just like women don't want any guy to sit on the first, second, third, or 30th date and be like rattling off all the girls he fucked. So therefore, no, I don't want to meet a guy. Like I said, unless he is that sort of change, then yeah, I'll go ahead. And then with your question, your secondary question of say something a couple weeks later, like I said, that's a completely different situation, because then again, it seems more like this is information that you had the chance to say that you didn't, and then it becomes held information that is more in tune with your question of when you said the person asked. So it's like that's kind of what I put in the same vein, where it's like, all right, you had the chance to say something if this was somebody, and now you are saying it. So then what I say is, okay, in that time from when you could have said something to now, that was guilt. And therefore now you had to speak up to say something, because if it truly didn't matter whether or not y'all had sex on top of the Eiffel Tower, you wouldn't need
That's
to tell
something
me.
I need to know.
No,
you had sex on the Eiffel Tower with somebody else, I would feel away. Because if I took you there, and I think it's special, and in your mind you're like, well, I'm
shit, it's special for me. That's all that matters.
Hey, right.
I ain't do it. You did it cool.
But I mean, unknown, and you don't know what you don't know either. So it's like
I just feel
okay.
So don't ever learn of it later.
Right.
That's when it hurts the most. That's when it sucks.
Yeah. The later stuff definitely is like, damn. Well, I wish I would have known that.
It's funny thing is, it's like and maybe I'm just a weird. I already know I'm odd with shit, but like I have no problem when a girl talks to me about, like, if our conversation is going and she brings up maybe past things.
Oh yeah, I don't either. If it's in the flow of conversation.
I don't mind. I'm like,
no, I'm just talking about willy nilly. Like when you're
yeah.
sitting there and you know what I'm saying, you see something on TV and you be like, oh, that reminds me of my
That's
ex.
not okay.
That's
not okay. If we're talking about
sex,
that's
and
nothing.
like
And past and what we done did and all
like,
that.
And you like, damn, this one time I want to try such and such and such and such, and you say like, oh, with my ex one time we did. I don't care.
I don't
totally
care
fine. I'm not gonna get upset or
It's
nothing
like, all right, we'll teach
right,
me.
I'm like, because in my head I'm like, okay, let me see if I can do
yeah,
that.